Hi, this is Shaheedah Hill with Maximum One Realty Atlanta, and please take some time and like and subscribe to my channel. I have new videos every week about buying or selling property in Metro Atlanta. So today I'm talking about crime. How do you know if your neighborhood or a neighborhood that you're considering moving to, how's the crime, how's the neighborhood, how safe is it going to be for you and your family? So I have 5 tips that you should follow if you're wondering how safe a particular neighborhood is. And I got into this situation helping a client who was out of town, so she lived in another state, buy property for her children that are in college in Metro Atlanta. And so I kind of took on the mommy role of just trying to make sure they were in the best neighborhood possible, but they wanted to be in a certain price range and closer into the city. And we have a lot of neighborhoods that are a lot of rehabs, that sort of thing going on, and it's kind of hard to tell how safe a neighborhood is. So I'm going to give you 5 tips and some things that I've done to really inform my clients on how safe a neighborhood is. So number 1 is crime mapping. Most major cities will allow you to put in a property address, and they'll tell you about any crimes in the general vicinity of that address. And you want to look for things that have happened, like burglaries or assaults, or any kind of violent crimes. You want to look for those things, and if there's a high, no community is 100% safe with nothing going on generally, but if there's a high weekly or monthly or daily kinds of crimes that have been reported, then that's an indication that that neighborhood may not be safe. Now that neighborhood may be changing. Maybe, of course, a lot of these rehab neighborhoods where they're coming in and they're rehabbing some of the older properties, and it may be a good investment for you, but depending on what your goal is, if your goal is to be there and live and make sure you don't have to worry about somebody breaking in and that sort of thing, then you may want to consider the amount of crime in the neighborhood. Number 2 is the National Sex Offenders Database. So again, you can put in your address and see if there are any sex offenders in your vicinity or close to your home, and that'll give you a list of them and the property addresses, or how close they are to the property you are considering. Third, are there a lot of vacant homes or a lot of homes for sale in the neighborhood? So sometimes that's based on the economy. A lot of people trying to sell their house. Sometimes people are just trying to get out of that neighborhood because it's not safe. So you want to look at the amount of properties on the market. Are there any vacant homes just sitting? And that could be, where crime, that's an opportunity for some people that are looking for a place to stay, drug activity, that sort of thing. So you want to make sure there's not a lot of, maybe 1 or 2, but you don't want to have a lot of vacant properties unless you're an investor. If you're just looking for owner occupancy, you want to live in that home. You do not want so many vacant properties. Number 4 is the overall condition of the neighborhood. Are people mowing their lawns? Are they keeping their house painted? Is their trash picked up? Is everything nice? Do people have a pride in their home and they're keeping it up accordingly? So you want to drive through the neighborhood and you want to look at the different houses. And I do this for my clients, and I kind of have my eye on it to say, okay, they're keeping up their neighborhood. They don't have to be new homes, but just anybody that's a homeowner. Generally, there's some pride in home ownership. So they're going to make sure they're planting flowers or mowing their lawn and making sure if there's any damage to their house is getting fixed. So you want to look at the neighborhood. You're always going to have one neighbor who just doesn't cut their lawn or something like that. But if you have a lot of people not keeping up their property, that's some evidence of possibly it being an unsafe neighborhood. So you want to make sure that the majority of the homes in your neighborhood are being kept up and they're in good condition. You can tell that from the yards, the landscaping, the cars. You don't want to have a lot of abandoned vehicles in the driveway or in the street. Those are some of the things you can look for. Number 5, and this is something that I do with my clients, is ask the neighbors directly. So you're looking at a property that's for sale. Maybe it's on a Saturday. People are already outside. Sometimes I knock on doors. It might be a little bit scary to do so, but I'll knock on the door and, give them my business card, and I will talk to the neighbors and see, how do they like living in this neighborhood? Do they feel safe in this neighborhood? Would you recommend my client buying in this neighborhood? And generally, they'll tell the truth. There was a property that my clients were considering, and I saw a lot of vehicles in one area, like highly concentrated vehicles, to the point where I thought maybe the guy was kind of a mechanic, or some kind of mobile mechanic. And there was a lot of traffic coming in and out of that area. So I brought this up to my client, even though she loved the home, and I said that might be concerning. So I talked to some of the neighbors, and they said there is a lot of activity over there. They felt safe, however, in the neighborhood. There wasn't anything that they felt they were in danger of or anything like that, but they all noted that this particular area on their block was a problem. So, and I advised my client, she didn't wind up putting an offer on that house, but you have to be aware of the things that are going on. So even if, so say you decide to purchase a property, you did all your due diligence, you checked the neighborhood, the crime reports, you did everything that I suggested, then I also want you, and it's very hard in 2019 to get to know your neighbors. Everybody kind of just goes in their house. There's not, in some neighborhoods, that much sense of community, but you have to be intentional about it. So just go to your neighbors, knock on their door, maybe say, I just moved in. Sometimes the neighbors aren't going to come with a pie when you move in and welcome you to the neighborhood. So it's a good idea, at least across the street from you and either side of the street from you, you need to know who those people are, and they need to know who you are. So then if they see something, unusual going on at your home, they can alert you. That's what neighborhoods are for. That's what neighbors are for. We help each other out if somebody needs help, and you also can look out for one another on your street or on your block. So I recommend the house across from you, and each house, the house to your left, the house to your right, you need to know who those people are, and you need to know, they need to know who you are. We had an incident at one property where there were new appliances, and somebody stole those appliances. The neighbor saw, a U-Haul out there, and saw, them taking the appliances with the U-Haul, but his assumption was somebody bought the house and they were just moving in or moving out or doing something. He didn't know exactly who to call. So just knowing your neighbors, say, we're moving in on this date. If you see anything going on that's unusual, we're the only people that live here. If you see somebody that's here that's not, call me, text me. Because sometimes, even though we have Ring and we have security systems, neighbors, especially, nosy neighbors, or neighbors that they know are, people know are looking, or you have a tight community, then you're less likely to be a target in that community, because they know the neighbors look out for one another. So again, Shaheedah Hill, Maximum One Realty, excellence in buyer, seller, and community service.